thought I pressed cancel and I was yelling at my husband. That's fun. Oh well, that's how it is. He's quiet now. All right. How fun. How fun. Now, did I put a title on this? I think I did. Oh my God. All right. Hi, everybody. Hi. Oh, so funny. All right. I shall sit here for a moment and let the people roll on in. Or 5. Hi, Nikki. Oh, I love it when the people are on live. It's so exciting because it feels like I'm talking to somebody. Yeah, it's very special. All right. Hands up if you saw me yell at my husband as I press live. Oh, God. Okay. DS, hello. How's your knee recovery? Oh, today's talk is, I hope I say it in a coherent way because I'm very passionate about it and it is a real game changer and it has huge effect on how you feel as a person and how you get around everyday life when we've started to install our own energetic boundaries. It's very cool. Yes, so my intention today with this is to ensure that the information comes across in a coherent way and in a way that is, you know, super relatable and almost like super inspiring to be like, yep, I see, I've now connected to the deep value of creating my own boundaries. And yeah, and sort of like this is what happens. Like I'm not so much today because I can't really say, oh, this is how you do it. Something will come through around that, but for each person as an individual, you know, it's your own individual circumstances. It's not one, it's a blanket concept for everybody, but it's not a blanket way to do it for everybody because you're all different. We've all got different frequencies. We've all got different lumps and bumps in our energy body, and we all you know, come from different storylines. So there's no one way to do this. But a very across the board thing is to decide that it has value for you, and then the rest will almost start to show up in your life of, oh yeah, this is someone I can work with to help do this, or this is where, okay, yeah, now I get to see where I think I could put up a boundary there. Because it's not about, the boundaries isn't, say hi as you're hopping on, because I might not be able to see who you are and I love to know who's here. Because I get excited mostly. and it's not about cutting people off or shutting people out. That's a different thing. That's a different sort of boundary that people talk about. This is truly about creating why is the word not coming to me? A rock solid energetic boundary in your own field. So good. All right, so anyone can ask questions as we go along. If I'm on a tangent, I'll go on the tangent, but I'll come back to the questions. And if you're watching the replay, please do a hashtag I'm here. And if you have questions, comment. But just if you are commenting, give me a bit of a context on your question because it's hard to match the question up to the video. All right. So I'll read out my own quote, which I put in the heading of this, because this gives us, it's a really concise way of describing the purpose of the boundaries. So your energetic boundaries are the protective, non-negotiable doors and walls of your own magnetic energy field. So they are, if you are someone who has watched part 2, yesterday's video, and hi Jane, I will have spoken about when we don't have the boundaries up, our energy fields just are merging in big murky mess with everybody else's energy fields, And it gets very difficult. The context yesterday was it gets very difficult to go, okay, well, what's my shit and what's their shit in the how humans relate scenario. So now this is sort of like the next level up from that, or just the expanded version, or just another reason why the boundaries are good. Is this for me is now all about your energy conservation. And not your like physical cardiovascular energy. It's about your like energetic energy conservation, because that at its best is when we feel good. Hi, Stace. And this is the thing, like when I'm talking with people one-on-one in sessions and things like that, it's all about, okay, so there is no right or wrong. Like there just is no right or wrong, but there is high vibe, low vibe, and there's constrictive or expansive choices. And so we always look at, and how we sort of choose that is, it's like, is this the best use of my energy? Because your energy is your life force. So it's of very high value. So it's like, okay, well, is this relationship dynamic, does that feel constrictive or expansive to me? So expansive is always a better option, because it means our energy is flowing freely, our life force is flowing freely. Okay, and so then it's sort of like high vibe, low vibe is a similar concept. I use high vibe, low vibe when it comes to food and dietary choices and things like that. I don't think about calories or talk to anyone about calories, and I don't talk about healthy foods or unhealthy foods. It's more along the lines now of high vibe versus low vibe. Don't talk about good foods or bad foods. It's high vibe versus low vibe, and what's it going to do to your energy field, let alone your physical energy, when you consume that. So that's a tiny little side note. Hi Trace, nice to see you. So there is not a lot of us, I say not a lot of us as a bit of a caveat, but we are not really taught, there are very few that we have grown up knowing how to put up energetic boundaries, knowing how to put up strong energetic boundaries. I think that this is just where we're at, where we're fast tracking all of this, because it has such deep value for the healing across the planet. So why I say that is because when we are all sticking to our own zone, looking after our own inner world, doing the healing, knowing our yes, knowing our no, which is what the energetic boundaries help us to sense. If we're doing that, then our little bubble of energy is becoming more high vibe. And if everybody else across the globe is doing that, it starts happening at a much faster rate. So I see this as being such a high value topic and high valuable and desirable state to cultivate within yourself, that's why I'm so passionate about it. And you know, for a lot of the deeper healing stuff to occur, I feel like if we've got a few boundaries up, it makes it a little bit easier, because we know, okay, that's my shit, that's somebody else's, especially with the people close in our life that joyfully happen to trigger our stuff off the most. Family, lovers, kids. Fun times. So I actually do have notes today. So usually when I'm looking down, I'm actually just thinking, but at the moment, I'm thinking, but I'm looking at my notes too. I don't want to have the notes there. I don't have anywhere else to put them. All right, so you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to read my notes so I know I've said those points, and then I'll just start freestyle riffing on the situation. So boundaries, the why of cultivating boundaries is the big picture, is they help you stay physically, emotionally, and energetically healthy. So with that, look, I'll just expand on it now. And that is because we are not merging our energies with other people, and we're not taking on their energies, and we are also less likely to project our shit as well. So, and the main reason why they help keep us healthy is because when the boundaries are in place, it stems the energetic hemorrhaging that you didn't even know was happening. So that's why it's so valuable. What usually happens is I see that quite often what happens is there might be a relationship dynamic with somebody in your life that you feel that their energy is quite strong, and they push in on you, and you sort of like may for a long time have been just taking that. And when we so that something like that will usually be a catalyst to be like, actually it's become a non-negotiable now. I have to put up a boundary. I don't like that. It doesn't feel good anymore. I've got to put up a boundary. And so this first stage of boundary, I see it as it's like you just erecting an emergency fence, right? I see it as like, you know, those like thin wire fences that the farmers put up. I see that's the first line of boundary creation, which is amazing, and which has to be like that, because that's like, we're not very good fencers yet, you know, so we just put up this little bit of a shoddy thing, but it still delineates a boundary, right? And the intention with which you set that up, it will still serve its purpose. Then as we go on and we sort of dance the inner journey more, we almost sort of come back around to the topic of boundaries again. And it's like, yeah, because now what we are is we've learnt a lot, because that boundary helped us catch our breath a bit, and it helped us gain a little bit more of our own ground back. And so then we've done we've become better fencers. And so then what happens is when we just literally with our mind, really, because at that point it's an energetic frequency thing, is we build this beautiful brick fence. It's really high, it's divine, it's well structured, it's super stable, and ain't nobody getting through that. And that is an extremely desirable position to be in, because then you are in charge of your own energy, and you are in charge of what you let in. So also, one part that I did miss in how we heal the world is, you know, just as a small thing, hello Simone, is when we have our boundaries up, we have these protections up, we are rock solid in our boundaries. We don't take on other people's projections. We don't take that in like we used to, you know. So what happens with that, oh, this is such an amazing piece. I'm so glad that it dropped in, because I didn't say it before. No, I've said it at the perfect time, because we needed the concept of the brick wall, right? Is when someone is in pain, whether they know it or not, and they've got that spite or that projection, or they, you know, just that sort of like that yucky feel of sometimes how people talk and what they ask of you and things like that. What happens is when they do project a bit of their stuff, is it hits our energetic field, but it doesn't go in anymore, because we've built the wall, we've built the boundary, because we said that sort of vibration is a non-negotiable for us, so it doesn't come in. But what happens there is, this is so exciting, it actually hits them. So I don't know if this is an actual fact, but it's like we take it as a concept and a theory, because of this is how it seems to look, right? This is what I get shown all the time. Their projection hits our wall, and then instead of us taking it in, it goes back to them. It gets reflected back to them, right? And so what happens is when it gets reflected back to them, it goes back into their energy field, and they get to feel it. When we were taking it from them, or just soaking it up, they didn't feel it. It just, in that moment, it felt good to project. And then they dance on by. Okay, great, keep going. But when they get to feel it, so this is all very unconscious, mostly. When they get to feel it, they get to decide in their subconscious, oh, that didn't feel very good. Do I still want to keep that? Is that how I want to be? And so the old phrase, when you feel it, you get to heal it. So that is how we actually start creating change around the world, because it's like, well, everyone's getting their stuff reflected back to them, and they get to decide. So that's a very exciting part of the boundaries as well. as opposed to just your own personal experience. Okay. So with boundaries, I've got written down here in my notes, boundaries tell you your yes, and they really allow you to feel your no. So when something hits you, hits your energy field, whether it's a comment, another person's energy, a choice, a decision, a crossroads, whatever, when we've cultivated the energetic boundaries, they are our they're our front line now. So they get to sort of like give us some information of going, ooh, yeah, that feels good, or that is a hard no. And the hard no's are probably what we need to cultivate more than the yeses, but then to get us out of survival and out of people pleasing and out of that'll do. But then the next level is to definitely call in our yes, because that's when we're living, a soul-aligned life. That's when we're living from our heart, when we're being guided not by our mind, but we're being guided by our feels. And we're being guided by our energy field tingling and going, yes, this is a thing for us. Because that's when we collapse timelines, when we're not trying to do it all with our mind. If we're doing it with our energy spidey senses, we collapse timelines and we pull these things closer. It's like you get to go doot, 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 and you jump from one thing to the next to arrive at the desired destination, because that's how it works. So that's highly, for people who feel that if a common phrase that you find yourself thinking or saying is they take my energy, or they make me do this, or what's another one? The real people pleaser that you can't say no. There's boundary work to be done. There's a payoff for that. There's a reason why people, that's character traits that we develop, for sure, because it's to be included, it's to be needed, it's to be seen. Oh, not really to be seen. Oh, maybe sometimes. But it's a real energy drainer, and it's not in your best interest, and it's not in the best interest of the people that you're helping either. And I do that because, are we helping them? Are we really, really helping them? Or are we taking away their pain? Which, I'm not a callous mole, but the patterns, they don't get out of their patterns. If we take their pain for them and from them, how do they ever get out of that pattern? They don't. They very rarely don't. So it's like, so when we put up our energetic boundaries and we don't take on other people's stuff anymore. So this is all energy. You're not even doing anything with your mind as time goes on. And if someone isn't going to be able to take themselves to the point of change, they will literally just sort of like vibrate out of your life. You are setting the tone. With your boundaries, you are setting the non-negotiable terms and conditions of the life you are here to experience. Well, that's very good. That's another quote. And when we're setting them, we're not setting them with a, maybe that first round of boundaries, the wire fence is a little bit of a, stay off my land. This is not for you. Because it's sometimes we need to muster up that anger or that pissed offness to create the change, because that's the masculine energy. It's destructive and penetrative, right? And so sometimes we need that. We need that energy to create some space for ourselves, to carve out, that sort of thing. I don't know why I'm doing this. I've got like sharp things in my hand and I'm carving it out. And so sure, the first round of fencing might be a little with that anger, which is great, because anger creates, it's an amazing catalyst, amazing when harnessed and used and worked through. The next sort of round of the energetic boundaries, when we've built that rock solid fence, it is only done with love. It is literally held together with the vibrational frequency of love, and you've done it with love for yourself. But what happens is, when someone's projections hits it, it gets reflected back to them with the energy frequency of love. It's not an energy frequency of, you know, you can get fucked. This is, you know, whatever. Oh, I shouldn't. I can't help but swear sometimes on the when I'm passionate, but maybe should try to not. But it gets reflected back to them with love, which is a beautiful energetic coating, because it's actually their pain getting reflected back to them. So you don't want it reflected back with added spikes. You know, it is dense enough and it is spiky enough for them, which is why they tried to throw it to you in the first place. So to get it reflected back with love, now as I'm talking, right, like, so I talk about this stuff all the time, but because this is not an individual one-on-one thing now, something actually super expansive is happening, which is quite exciting. Like, I can feel it. But as I'm talking about this now, and it hits your energy field, which is built with the vibrational frequency of love, their pain gets like little like love glitters all encoded. And so I think that is why they then get it back, is because then it's encoded with some healing codes. Whoa. Whew. It's encoded with some healing codes that actually help it to create change. That is like super emotional. Like, I am like, you can see that I'm like, my face wants to tear up. So that's a little transmission right there. How fun. It is fun. It's amazing. This is why you open the channel, right? And you get more insight. Okay. All right, I'm going to check my notes again. So that's the next level of understanding. I've been shown and I've known for a long time that it is very powerful to not take on other people's stuff. And so just to let it hit you and then go back to them. You don't do anything. You're not throwing it back. You're not touching it. It's hitting your energy field, and it just reflects back. Yeah, no, they're all my notes. So instead of one note yesterday, I wrote 3 notes today. That were just the key points, because I know that the topic is actually, it's quite large, and so I wanted to make sure I really nailed some key points, because they're tangible reasons to grab onto as to why they might have value for each of us. Okay. What else would I desire to share that I wish we all knew? So about how powerful these are is what I wish we all knew. The fact that you and only you can, actually I'll take must out because it is your own choice, but only you can do this from within yourself. Like, this is not a job anyone else can do for you. Other people can guide you. Someone like me can guide you, but only you can do it. Only you can choose. I can't rock up with my truck and all my bricks and my other tools, whatever. I can't build the fence for you. You have to build it yourself with desire and drive and intention, and believing that it is in your best interest to do so. And really what it is the work that you do, the inner healing journey that you do is about removing the beliefs that block you believing that you're worth having boundaries. And so that's why they almost just start to, when you do that work, they almost just start to I'm seeing them like the opposite of dissolve. Like, they're not dissolving, they're like appearing. They just start to appear themselves, because maybe it is actually our natural state to be so rock solid in our boundaries, and when we start removing the limiting beliefs, the boundaries pop up. But it does take a bit of practice. So there is a consciousness required. You know, there's some practice of especially around people that have been in your life for a long time, that you've got ingrained patterns with, of who your identity is. You know, a lot of our identity is tied up in that I don't rock the boat, I don't make waves, I'm very easygoing. easygoing is a thing, yes, but I do this because no, you're not easygoing. You actually just don't know how to say no, or you can't say no because of storylines that run through your mind. Really different situations. So there's a point though where these ways of being just don't serve you anymore, and you'll start to know, and you'll start to get the signs and the communication that this pattern isn't working for us anymore. This programming is not working for us anymore. And anxiety is a huge one for this. Anxiety is a major communicator that boundaries need to be put in place, and that old ways of being are not serving us anymore. So that's your hot tip on anxiety there. Okay. Do you know what I think I'll also do is I think I will read out from the Work Your Light Oracle deck. There's a card in there. I'm not going to go looking for the card, but I'm going to read out the thing. I was trying to find the word for that, but could not. The transmission, the message, the whatever. I'm just going to read it. Boundaries 38. And yes, feel free to ask any questions if you have questions. All right, so boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? You are being called to create clearer boundaries in your life. This is friends, family, or work. Saying yes when you really mean no leads to resentment, which is the biggest energy drain ever. At first, it might only be a little bit and not feel like a big deal, but before you know it, your energy field becomes porous and you are left feeling depleted, resentful, or taken advantage of. Saying no and having clear boundaries is actually a spiritual act. The most giving, loving, compassionate people are those with the clearest boundaries. For when they say yes, they are able to give unconditionally. When your boundaries are clear, others know where they stand, and you are able to give freely. If you are not clear on where your boundaries lie, this creates confusion, resentment, and energetic cords to be planted. If you are saying yes when you really mean no, you are likely needing something yourself. Ask yourself, what part of me needs something from them? It could be a need for approval, a fear of being seen a certain way, or a fear of loss. The best way to gauge your boundaries is to check in with your belly. Your belly is the second brain. It has an intelligence known as your gut feelings. Tune into this space when deciding what is okay for you. How does it feel? What is it trying to communicate with you? And then a little activity you could do is you could journal on where in your life do you need to establish better boundaries. So that was from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light deck, just to be super clear that they were not my words. And this is the thing, you'll know the difference of when you're around someone who knows their boundaries and when they don't. Like, it just is it feels super comfortable to be around someone that has done the work on their boundaries, because it feels like there's no it's just a very clean energy to be around, because when it is a yes, then it's a yes, and it's your whole being is behind the yes, and so that feels better when you're receiving that yes from someone with the good boundaries. But even if you're the person saying the yes with the good boundaries, you don't get drained from it, you get fulfilled. Your energy is potentized, I suppose, from saying the yes and doing the things. Yeah, it's huge stuff. It's really good. I feel like, is there anything else to share on that for now? No, that feels quite rounded. I'm sure, there's other things like, if anyone has questions around like examples or whatever, or look, this is a bit of a thing, like to understand the concept and then do some work on where you might just do some journaling on where you might feel into your life where better boundaries would be really desirable for you or really useful for you. And then yeah, and then maybe get someone involved to help you find this part of yourself, because it's a real game changer. Your life actually opens up because you're living your more authentic, energetic truth, and that is the whole freaking point. Awesome. Okay. I think I'm calling it. So, sometimes I feel like an auctioneer because I'm like, and I'm done, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Comments, questions, super welcome. What is tomorrow's topic going to be? Let me see what I wrote down, see if I'm going to stick to that. I've written authentic energetic alignment, which is sort of coincidental that I actually did just say that, but now I'm thinking, oh, let's leave it as that, because right now my mind's like, whoa, how do I even talk on that? But it does flow on quite nicely from the boundaries, like the boundaries flowed on from yesterday. So let's see what drops in. If not, it'll be a different topic, and you can all be as surprised as I will be. Okay, I love you. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.